Hi, Sheila. What a result last night. What a result. I'm into centre ground politics. And what worries me is that the Labour and Conservative now will try to shift to the right. They'll be worried they're going to lose seats at the next general election. They'll be really worried. And I think there's going to be a shift to the right. And I think the time is ripe for there to be proportional representation. That's what Nigel Farage wanted not so long ago, because he only got how many? 4 or 5 MPs, or maybe a 6th MP now. But that's what he wanted. But he won't be so keen on that now, because if he thinks he's going to win the next general election...
Well, steady on. I mean, let's take this result, this set of results for what they are. Let's not leap ahead to the next general election.
Okay.
Well, go on. Sorry, I'm sorry, I stopped you. What I'm saying is, they're not there yet, are they? I'm not saying they'll never get there, but they're not there yet. What is it about reform, do you think, that is appealing to people?
Well, I think it's the boats. I think it's immigration, a high level of illegal immigration, and perhaps legal immigration as well. I think it's that. I think there are other matters like, the policing, how many police there are on the streets, crime, the crime levels and so on, and shoplifting and the knife crime, all of these, and I'm pro, a party that is for clamping down and for putting more resources into those areas. So in that sense, I may be a little bit to the right myself, but it worries me, the rhetoric that you're getting from, the far right rhetoric. I don't want to. I mean, it's happening in Europe as a whole. The shift to the right, and I like to see balance in politics. I don't know why we can't go for a system like they've got in Scotland. It's not totally PR, but it's a lot more balanced. And I think then you could see you'd have a shift towards the centre ground, because the extreme right or the extreme left, they'd have to move. They'd have to do some horse trading, between them. And I think there would be a momentum towards a move towards the centre ground.
Yeah, I mean that is an ideal. I mean, you might be. I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's a kind of idealistic view of how politics in this country would be under proportional representation. Those who fear it, not just because they want power to be centralised, but because they fear it would actually lead to sclerotic politics, which it can do. I mean, where it works, I think it absolutely has its merits, but it can make politics even more sclerotic than it already is. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Sheila. How are you?
Okay, thanks. Yeah. What are you thinking?
Just first time caller, long time listener. Just a little bit nervous. So apologies for
You'll be all right.
Words.
Well, it's a big day. Fire away.
I think reform are starting to resonate with the general population of the UK, and I think they're a bit of a movement, if I'm honest. I think for too long we've had Labour and Conservatives at each other's throats, and people are sick of it now. I think they want change.
What's the movement about?
I think people are tired of the traditional way that politics is sort of perceived, and people just want to change.
A change to what, though? Do you know the answer to that? That's the big question about reform, isn't it, really?
It is a big question, and I do think they are asking more questions and providing answers, but I think people are willing to take that risk. I think, for the last 14 years, the Conservatives have run the country into the ground, and, the one thing that Labour has done very well recently is just highlight how bad the Conservatives were. But I don't think Labour's kind of come forward with any sort of credible arguments and ways forward, especially with a PIP. And also...
Do you think they've shot themselves in the foot with those kinds of policies so early on, the PIP and the winter fuel, for example?
I think they have. I think had Keir Starmer come out as a new form of Tony Blair, I don't think we'd be sat here having these conversations, but I think... right from the get-go.
Even Tony Blair himself said, now isn't the time for New Labour and Tony Blair. That it's a different time in our history, and we need different answers.
That is true. That is true. But I just think that.
Are you talking about the political skill that he had and the appeal that he had compared to Starmer?
I think it's more the appeal. I think have you got the appeal of the people, then I think whatever sort of policy you put through, people will look at it and they'll sort of accept it for what it is. But I don't think he has the people skills.
OK, thank you very much indeed, Ben. You did brilliantly, despite your nerves.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you. Cole. That's Cole from Redbridge. Hello, Cole.
Hi, Sheila.
How do you see it?
You were talking about reform and how they're doing. I remember when you had two parties back in the 50s and 60s. One was for the rich and one was for the poor. Now, as far as I can see, I haven't got anything against reform, because in one instance, I remember Farage stirring up things and going to the EU and enlightening some of us here as to what was really happening. So he's stirring up the nest, as he's supposed to do. Maybe in the future, I heard somebody earlier on saying about coalitions, maybe in the future we might have two parties, together. You've got Liberal, they seem to like some of the things that Labour are doing. And most importantly, I want to say this, good things take time. People are a bit impatient. I wasn't going to vote for Labour in the main election we had, but I thought, you know something, I'm going to give them one more chance. And now everybody's moaning about this and moaning about that. They've got good reason to moan. I'm not saying they haven't, but you know what? You have to. Good things.
You're still
take
minded to
time.
give them time. Give it time and give them time.
Good things take time. It doesn't happen. No, we've come out of COVID. You go on the road, you're driving, everybody's in a rush. I mean, they were in a rush. They were going 60 miles an hour before COVID, but now they're going about 100 miles an hour. Everybody wants it tomorrow.
And do you think...
Farage,
No, sorry, go on.
and Farage is just stirring up the hornet's nest. I think if he had it placed right in front of him, I don't think they at the moment, it probably maybe 10 years time, maybe we've got illegal migration. I understand that. This country, we depend on services, so we do need migration, but we just need to control it.
Well,
that's what we need to do.
Well, that is and again, Nigel Farage, whichever party he was in, has been pivotal in making that mainstream in our politics. You can't deny that. Can I ask you whether you're more or less comfortable with more parties being in the mix?
I think they're all in that house. They all talk amongst themselves after Prime Minister's questions. They all get on, and I think most of the people that go into government, MP, whatever, I think they do have good intentions. That's the reason why they're there. And I just think that maybe having a coalition might be a good thing. It didn't work out with the Conservatives and the Liberals back in the day. But I think as we move on, as things change in the world, I don't think it's a bad thing if we tried it.